Tonight on Reporting Scotland, police warn paedophiles are now able to contact children online within 30 seconds. We've been given exclusive access to the detectives who go after hundreds of suspects every year.
The problem that we have with this type of crime is it's relentless. You feel like you're making a difference, and then the next day you come in, the pile just gets higher and higher and higher.
Also on tonight's programme, the family of missing teenager Cole Cooper say they're hoping and praying for him to be found safe.
Very much out of his character, like I really cannot stress and highlight that enough. For Cole not to be in contact with anyone is very not normal for him.
Police say they're increasingly concerned for the 19-year-old who hasn't been seen for 3 weeks. Thousands of energy customers could be in line for compensation for the forced fitting of prepayment meters.
Coming up in tonight's sport, we'll have the latest on Rangers' search for a new manager as Davide Ancelotti holds fresh talks about the position.
If we're feeling kind of tedious, if life is seriously mediocre.
And we talked to Alan Cumming and Forbes Masson about the return of The High Life as a stage musical. Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Wednesday's programme. Police Scotland is warning that paedophiles are now able to make direct contact with children online within 30 seconds of trying. The Force's National Child Abuse Investigation Unit says nearly every case they deal with involves an alleged offender communicating with a child through social media and streaming platforms. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan has had exclusive access to the detectives working on the front line.
Good morning. Today we are executing a search warrant in relation to indecent communications with a child online.
For these detectives, this 6 a.m. briefing is a near daily routine.
The subject of our inquiry has been engaging in online chats with a 13-year-old female child.
Joe, good morning. Just for your information, the Oxy team are heading into your area this morning to execute a property search warrant.
Their destination, a house in central Scotland where a 43-year-old man lives with his partner and children.
We're known as the Oxy team, which is the online child sexual abuse and exploitation team. We investigate persons who are carrying out online offences against children and exploiting children sexually online. The problem that we have with this type of crime is it's relentless. You feel like you're making a difference, and then the next day you come in, the pile just gets higher and higher and higher because there's more and more offenders out there and it's just not slowing down.
When they reach the address, their approach is deliberately low-key because the family lives there. They knock on the door instead of knocking it down. The early morning peace and quiet of the neighbourhood continues uninterrupted. What's happening right now in a home in this very ordinary suburban community could change that family's life forever. One of the officers involved in the operation said the only thing he can compare it to in policing is delivering a death message. That's how devastating the impact can be.
The problem that we've had this morning is that there's children in that address, which is always the hardest part. They're upset because there's lots of strangers in the house, they don't even know who we are, and they're upset already. And if you go into an address that has more than one person living there, you're effectively turning that person's life upside down. It has a huge impact. It has a huge impact on us as well because it's difficult for us to see it unravel.
The team searches the house and removes devices. They're carrying out 700 investigations a year, up 30% in a decade. Nearly every case now involves offenders making direct contact with children online, placing them at risk of extortion and abuse.
So for those people who have a deviant sexual interest in children, it's easier than ever to go online and engage with a child. And that's just the reality of what we have seen from investigations over the last 3 years. You probably do it within 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yep, 100%. Platform dependent, but yes, whilst we don't want to place the onus of responsibility on the child, we do have to educate our children to be safe online. And as with the physical world, one of the key aspects is you shouldn't be engaging with someone you don't know. There is a responsibility on the tech, there is a responsibility on government, there is a responsibility on the police to make the online world safer.
Devices are examined in a digital forensics van for indecent images or videos of children. Anything that's found is checked against a national database. If they haven't been seen before, a victim identification team tries to work out who the children are. It is, needless to say, a gruelling task.
4 years ago, we were identifying approximately 25 to 30 victims a year. We're doing more than 10 times that now. For the last year, we've almost identified nearly 400 victims, and 90% of those children are from Scotland.
Would it be fair to say that you're prepared to put yourself through this because you know how important it is?
It is very important, yeah. Yes.
Back at the house, the suspect is arrested, taken into custody and charged in connection with sexual communications. It's the start of a long legal process which will eventually establish guilt or innocence. In this part of the UK alone, these raids are happening 15 to 20 times every single week. David Cowan, reporting Scotland.
And if you have been affected by anything you've seen in Dave's report, details of help and support are available at bbc.co.uk/action line, or you can call for free to hear recorded information at the number on your screen now. Police say they're becoming increasingly concerned for a teenager who's been missing for 3 weeks. 19-year-old Cole Cooper was last seen on the 7th of May close to his home village of Banknock near Falkirk. Since then, officers have visited more than 200 homes in their door-to-door inquiries and have seized more than 1,000 hours of CCTV footage. Suzanne Allen reports.
This is some of the last CCTV of Cole taken on Sunday the 4th of May. For the last couple of weeks, police have visited more than 220 properties and seized more than 1,000 hours of CCTV. Dive teams, helicopter and police horses have all been involved in the search.
Just like Cole's family, we are increasingly concerned for Cole's whereabouts. Since Cole was initially reported missing to us on the 9th of May, officers have been dedicated to the inquiry to follow up all lines of inquiry to trace Cole. That is our main priority, is to trace Cole safe and well. So we just encourage any members of the public that was in the area of Glasgow Road, Longcroft on Wednesday the 7th of May at 8:45 p.m. to review any dashcam footage, any CCTV around that time, to report that to police.
Cole went out for the night on Saturday the 3rd of May. He was then seen on CCTV in Longcroft for the first time at 4:59, then at various points in the next hour until 6 a.m. A witness came forward to say he spoke to Cole the following Wednesday. On Friday the 9th, he was reported missing. There have been searches of woodland and fields by family and friends, but no one has heard from him. Cole's family are desperate for news.
Very much out of his character, like I really cannot stress and highlight that enough. For Cole not to be in contact with anyone is very not normal for him. Cole's very much one of those boys that he's on the phone to multiple people multiple times a day. So the fact that nobody's heard from him since Saturday the 3rd of May, it is very much alarm bells.
Police say there is no evidence that Cole has come to any harm, and they are still treating this as a missing persons inquiry. But as the days and weeks go on, they are getting increasingly concerned for his welfare. Suzanne Allen, reporting Scotland, Longcroft.
A former foster carer who subjected children to a catalogue of abuse has been jailed for 32 months. In sentencing her today, a sheriff told Yvonne Keenan she abused the trust of children she was caring for and said it was hard to imagine how scared, confused and alone they must have felt at the time of the offences. With more on this, here's our reporter Hope Webb at Glasgow Sheriff Court.
Keenan previously pled guilty to cruel and unnatural treatment of the children at her home in Maryhill. The charges span from the year 1994 to 2001, and the children involved are now all adults. The crimes involved force-feeding cat food to a young boy aged between 5 and 8 years old. 3 other children were also severely punished by Keenan, including being forced to face a wall for long periods of time. The children were also not fed often and went to bed hungry. That led to one of the children scraping paint off a bedroom ceiling and feeding it to the young boy to try and cure his hunger. Keenan was also violent, dragging a child across the floor, shaking and slapping another child also. The 56-year-old will now spend more than 2.5 years in prison.
Hope Webb there. Cuts will be made to day services for adults with learning disabilities in Aberdeenshire. 8 projects will close, with alternative provision being found within charities and other organisations. Social care transport will also be stopped. It comes as the Health and Social Care Partnership tries to make millions of pounds in savings this year. Rachel Bell reports.
The most vulnerable people in our communities need care, but that comes at a cost.
No ifs, no buts. Stop the disability cuts.
Today has been about looking at who needs care, how it's delivered and who delivers it. Speaking up for their loved ones, families of adults with learning disabilities. A decision today will see 8 projects closed. Day centres will remain open, but the number of those eligible to attend will be cut to a third of what it was.
The extra stress and uncertainty has really had a negative effect on everybody that's involved in this. You know, we kind of sleep at night and things, wondering what's got to happen, what sort of service is got to be left for them.
Social care transport, such as buses and taxis to take people to day centres, will also be stopped.
I took early retirement 8 years ago when my wife was ill with cancer. She passed away. I'm his only carer now. If he was to lose his place, and his transport, of course, he would lose his transport. If he was to lose his place, I don't know what I would do.
Activity hubs for older people will be reduced, and the majority of care for those at home will be outsourced.
Staff are heartbroken. They're absolutely heartbroken, upset, angry. They're losing their jobs and their careers, and they're seeing their work that they've dedicated their lives to being undervalued.
These decisions are not taken lightly at all, and the IJB works within its funding and has a mismatch between the provision that we've been providing and the resources that we have, and in trying to identify how we correct that and stabilise the budget, these decisions were correct.
Families have been given assurances that no one will be left without services until alternative provision can be found.
Balancing rising needs with tightening budgets is something all health and social care partnerships are grappling with. Decisions made here today will have an impact on those who need care, but also on those who love and care for them. Rachel Bell, reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
To some news just emerging tonight, and Belfast rap group Kneecap have announced they're no longer going to perform at Glasgow's Transmit Festival this summer. They had recently been embroiled in controversy as one member was charged with a terror offence for allegedly displaying a flag in support of proscribed organisation Hezbollah. Well, our news correspondent Jamie McIver is here to tell us more. And Jamie, this follows on from concerns police had expressed about Kneecap performing at Transmit. What have Kneecap said?
Indeed, the news emerged in a social media statement made by Kneecap just a short time ago. In it they say that due to concerns expressed by the police about the safety at the event, they'll no longer be able to perform at Transmit. The Post apologises to the thousands who bought tickets, flights and hotels, and the band say they're sorry, but say that the matter is out of their hands. Now, Kneecap are no strangers to controversy, of course. Band member Liam O'Haney was recently charged by the Metropolitan Police with a terror offence. He had allegedly displayed a flag in support of the proscribed Lebanese organisation Hezbollah at a gig last year. Now, in their social media post, Kneecap also say they will be performing at the O2 Academy in Glasgow in July, and tickets for that gig will go on sale shortly. But to reiterate, they're pulling out of Transmit, and they say the matter is not in their hands.
OK, Jamie, thank you for that update. Thousands of Scottish Energy customers could be in line for payouts as part of a response to the forced fitting of prepayment meters. Those receiving the highest amounts will be customers who had pay-as-you-go meters inappropriately installed after falling behind with bills. Power companies will be paying compensation and cancelling debts after a review by the energy regulator Ofgem. Well, our social affairs correspondent Chris Clements joins us now from outside the headquarters of one of those companies. Scottish Power. Chris, just tell us about this scheme then.
Well, this all stems from a review by Ofgem into that practice that caused an outcry in early 2022 at the start of the cost of living crisis. Customers who had fallen behind in their debts, forcibly been put onto pay-as-you-go meters for gas and electricity, some of these customers having vulnerabilities of their own. Now, Ofgem in its review found that suppliers fell short of the required standards when dealing with these customers, and that's why 8 of these providers, including Scottish Power behind me, have joined up to this £74 million scheme to offer financial support and compensation to these customers. Now, we spoke to one Scottish Power customer, Favour Asante. Now, she was put onto a prepayment meter without her agreement over a debt, £2,000 debt that wasn't actually hers. The company later apologised for this, cancelled the debt, but here's what she had to say about today's scheme.
I felt very bad. It really affected me emotionally, financially, and it also ruined my credit score because a bill that wasn't mine was forced in my name.
So do you think that £1,000, if you were to qualify for that, would be enough to make up for the experience that you had with the company?
Not really, to be honest. Not really, because what I've been through compared with £1,000 is not enough, but at least it's something.
And Chris, what more do we know about who's going to receive this money under this scheme?
Well, there's 40,000 customers UK-wide affected by this, and we don't know exactly who is going to get what at this stage. But I can tell you that the payments will start at £40, rising up to £500, depending on how the customers had been treated, depending on whether how processes had not been followed. Now, Ofgem has said that it only affects customers from the following companies: so Scottish Power, Octopus, E.ON, EDF, Utility Warehouse, Good Energy, True Energy and Ecotricity, and customers don't have to take any action in this. The money will be paid directly into their accounts. Back to you.
Oh, Chris in Glasgow city centre, thank you. It was the cult TV show that launched the careers of 2 young actors. It's 30 years since The High Life ran for just 1 season on the BBC. Now the airline sitcom's creators, Alan Cumming and Forbes Masson, have revived it as a stage show. Our arts correspondent Polly McLean has been talking to them.
It's been the longest delayed takeoff in Scottish theatrical history.
If we're feeling kind of tedious, if life is seriously mediocre.
40 years after they met at drama school and formed a comedy double act, which in turn inspired this cult TV show, Forbes Masson and Alan Cumming are working with the National Theatre of Scotland on a new stage musical.
The High Life!
For so long we've been imagining these crazy things we want them to do, and then there they were doing them with gusto. And yeah, the whole thing's been hilarious and fun, and just sort of the fact that we're all back doing this, the fact we're all still alive, is a cause for celebration.
Sebastian. The show will reunite many of the original cast, as well as introducing a new generation to Air Scotia.
The thing about The High Life is it had that great Scottish, surreal comic tradition. You know, there was such kind of madness in it. And we're really trying to kind of recreate that in the musical. It's really bonkers. It's really quite ridiculous. But it's rooted in a sort of truth of two guys who've worked together and been kind of forced together for years and years and years, and life has gone on, and they've still been dreaming of other things, and suddenly they're in their 60s, and it's like, oh my God, is this it?
Not so for these guys who've gone on to do so much more that even getting them back in one room again was a challenge. But they're delighted to have been cleared for takeoff in the spring of next year.
It's kind of like what we did when we first left drama school, except we're in big theatres now. So it'd be kind of the fun of being on tour is there's nothing like it. It's hilarious. You're in sort of strange cities with a bunch of people that you love and you're getting to know, and you're doing something that's, you're working on it as it goes along. It's just such a great experience.
Polly McLean, reporting Scotland.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Sheila. Hello.
Thank you, Laura. Hello there. Rangers have held fresh discussions with Davide Ancelotti about becoming the club's new manager, and the Italian wants the job. Ancelotti has left Real Madrid along with his father Carlo, who he's assisted at several clubs, but he has not followed his dad to the Brazil national team. Ancelotti Jr. was approached about the Rangers job earlier this month, and he held discussions with the club's hierarchy in London last week. The 35-year-old hopes a deal can be reached in the coming days. Now, Hibernian head coach David Gray says the club have to kick on from their third-place league finish by lifting a trophy next season, as he sat down with BBC Scotland to reflect on a remarkable second half of the campaign. Hibs had a dreadful start and were bottom of the Premiership at the end of last year, but an excellent run of form saw them finish with a flourish. You can hear Gray's full interview on Sportsound on Saturday as he looks to build on a promising debut season in the dugout.
No, it is a genuine thing that the players will look to try and do at the start of this season. When we sit down and look about what our goal setting is for this season, it'll be very, very similar to what it was this year. In fact, it'll be the same, which is can we finish in Europe and can we win a cup? And that is something that is a genuine opportunity for every even the players we try and bring to the football club. That's not something you can play your whole career. You might never play, you go down south, you play 500 games, never play in Europe and never win anything, but you've still had a fantastic career. Of course you have. These are the extra wee special moments that this football club can provide.
Hearts have made their second signing since Derek McInnes took charge at Tynecastle by landing striker Elton Kabangu, who was on loan last season on a permanent deal. The 27-year-old moves on a 3-year contract from Belgian side Union Saint-Gilloise, where the man set to invest £10 million in Hearts, Tony Bloom, is a minority shareholder. McInnes has already signed Greek winger Alexandros Kisaridis and says he's in negotiations with out-of-contract striker Lawrence Shankland about a new deal. Well, Derek McInnes' first game in charge will be in the League Cup, where Hearts have been drawn in a group with Dunfermline, Hamilton, Dumbarton and Stirling Albion. Elsewhere, new Kilmarnock boss Stuart Kettlewell will face newly promoted side Livingston. The only top 6 side involved in this stage of the competition is St Mirren. They're in a group which includes Ayr United. Full fixtures are on the BBC Sports Scotland website. Now to rugby, in Glasgow Warriors' Rory Darge and Edinburgh's Jamie Ritchie have enough on their minds with league playoffs this weekend to be fretting over not being included in the British and Irish Lions summer tour. Warriors play against Cape Town Stormers at Scotstoun on Friday, and Edinburgh are away to Pretoria Bulls the following day in the last 8 of the United Rugby Championship. The Scotland teammates might have expected to nab a place in Andy Farrell's Lions party heading to Australia, but they seem to have come to terms with their omission.
You never know, like these things might come around, they might not. Obviously it would have been nice to have that moment, but like I said before, like I'm comfortable with the performances that I've put in to put myself in the mix.
I know how much I put into this game and how much I put into preparing and going out and playing and what I put my body through. So, why should other people get to experience that and I don't? And I don't look at. I'm not saying that from a sort of negative point of view. It's purely a positive point of view. I was delighted for the guys that are involved and yeah, it just was a bit of a motivator for me, really, if anything, and something to aspire to.
Finally, Scottish Cup celebrations are set to continue all summer in Aberdeen, not least by the members of a gospel choir in the city who drew a lot of attention for an impromptu performance during Sunday's Victory Parade. Don's manager Jimmy Tilleen and his players gave around 100,000 fans a glimpse of the trophy, prompting the Jesus House Gospel Choir to join in the fun. Their singing and dancing made its way online, and we got them together this afternoon for a rendition of Pittodrie favourite Aberdeen LA.
Isn't that the idea? When you win, it gets everybody really excited and binds most people together. So it was a beautiful thing to see the rest of Aberdeen, the team, the people just coming together to celebrate such an amazing win over 35 years. That's a long span and worthy of all celebrations. So it was really a good thing to join in.
That makes you smile,
I
doesn't
know,
it?
I was going to say, you can't help but smile at that, even if you're not an Aberdeen fan.
We need to get them in the stadiums now.
Absolutely, good idea. OK, thank you, Sheila. Well, it is Wednesday night, which means it is debate night, of course. Here's Stephen Jordan with the details.
Debate night is in Hamilton this evening ahead of an important by-election here next week. Our audience will put their questions tonight to Kate Forbes from the SNP, Jackie Bailey from Scottish Labour, Craig Hoy from the Scottish Conservatives, Lorna Slater from the Scottish Greens, Alex Cole-Hamilton from the Scottish Liberal Democrats and Thomas Kerr from Reform UK. Join us for Debate night at 9 on the BBC Scotland channel and 10:40 on BBC One Scotland.
And now Christopher is here. Where are we with this weather, Christopher?
It's up and down, isn't it? Great picture here, though, from one of our weather watchers. Look at these really heavy downpours. Some really heavy downpours on the way tonight as well, Laura. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening to you. We've had quite a mixed day of weather today, haven't we? Some sunshine, some showers, one or two rainbows in the mix at times too. But as we head through the course of this evening and overnight, heavy rain works its way in from the southwest, giving a good spell of wet weather, still with us first thing tomorrow. But this is this evening, initially dry, some late spells of sunshine, then the cloud thickens, then the rain arrives. After dark, really, for most, it tracks its way northwards across the country. Temperatures overnight around 7 to 11 Celsius, breezy at times too, but that rain is still with us first thing tomorrow. So let's take a close look at tomorrow morning's commute. Around about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, you can see it is very wet. Some very poor conditions on the roads, standing water and spray, big puddles. Not a particularly pleasant start to Thursday, has to be said. Temperatures, academic, 8 to 11 Celsius, but yes, very cloudy and very wet. But actually, it should improve through the course of the day. Watch what happens. There's the rain, off it goes, albeit slowly, becoming confined towards the Northern Isles and a slow improvement across the country, drying up, still cloudy, still some outbreaks of rain, but not as wet as first thing. Temperatures 15 to 18 Celsius, still quite blustery from the southwest as well. And then as we look through towards Friday, we've got a bit of cloud and rain first thing, but it's an improving picture on Friday with this ridge of high pressure, so a drier day. Initially cloudy with outbreaks of rain towards the northeast, cloudy with some showers moving in towards Shetland. Elsewhere, sunshine developing into the afternoon, a number of sharp showers across the southern uplands there. Temperatures across the mainland 16 to 18 Celsius, cooler across the Isles and around the coast. That brief respite on Friday is brief because the weekend sees low pressure return. That means showers or longer spells of rain, some sunshine in the mix at times too, but certainly an unsettled picture. This is the outlook for Saturday and Sunday. The rain never far away, at least on Saturday, temperatures reaching the high teens. That's the forecast for now.
Bit of everything there. Thank you, Christopher. And that is Reporting Scotland for now. Anne McAlpine will be here with your late news at 10:30 tonight. And don't forget, the news at 7 is coming up on the BBC Scotland channel. In the meantime, enjoy your evening. Good night.